The rest of our trip will be in northern Norway and Sweden. From Tromsø, we're flying to Leknes. There's a break in the weather, and the airport opens just long enough for us to land, the only flight in today. From Leknes, we have a 40-mile drive to Svolvær, our home for 3 nights. It's dark and snowy when we find our Arctic bus to take us to Svolvær. We wake up to a world of black and white, except for the barn-red cabins that we're staying in. There's a pervasive smell of fish, probably from the racks of drying fish that are outside our door, but more about that later. These little cabins were called rorbu. They were a kind of seasonal house used by fishermen. Traditionally, they were built partially over the water and had 2 rooms, one to live in and one to store fishing gear in. Now they're rented out to tourists and are much nicer than what the fishermen used in the past. Near our rorbu is a captain's house dated 1892. Svolvær is located on 2 islands. On the south is Svine, which is mostly rorbu and fish processing warehouses. To the north is the main part of the town, on the island of Astfogøy. Flea is a 1,940-foot tall mountain that looms over the town. The mountain is popular with climbers, especially this 490-foot pinnacle on the south face of Flea, which resembles a goat with 2 horns. Svolvær was first mentioned in historical documents in 1567. In Old Norse, it means chilly fishing village. The Lofoten Islands are popular with tourists for their picturesque villages and rugged mountain landscapes. Fishing is still an important industry in Svolvær, especially during the winter North Atlantic cod season. Svolvær Harbor is lined with these picturesque red barns used for fish processing, along with less picturesque dry docks and boat yards enclosed in large boxy buildings to allow for all-season use. But there are lots of scenes worthy of a picture in Svolvær. We took our meals at Barsens Spiserie, a very nice restaurant decorated with antique fishing equipment. Of course, the menu is cod and more cod, but very good cod. We're here at the end of the cod season. Cod migrates south from the Barents Sea and gathers off Lofoten to spawn. As a conservation measure, the Norwegian government has imposed taxes which vary with the boat's length. So now the boats are short and pudgy. Another picturesque village not far from Svolvær is Kabbevoll. We're here on an overcast morning, and almost everything is black and white. The village was founded in the early 12th century, but the oldest traces of settlements are from the late Stone Age. We walked to the end of the breakwater, looking for pictures. Our next stop is Hemmingsvær, where we found more fish drying racks. So this is a good place to talk about stockfish. It's unsalted fish, especially cod, dried by cold air and wind on wooden racks. The fish is gutted and hung on a wooden rack from February to May. Consistent cold weather protects the fish from insects and bacterial growth. Temperature just above freezing is ideal. After hanging outside for 3 months, the fish is matured for 2 to 3 months indoors in those red warehouses. During drying, the fish loses about 80% of its water, but retains all of its nutrients. It has a shelf life of several years. The climate in Lofoten is ideal, and the stockfish here is considered the best in the world. Seeing all that fish, you'd expect to see lots of fishing boats in Hemmingsvær, and you wouldn't be disappointed. The village is spread across a number of islands, so there's a lot of sheltered mooring. This 1909 building that once processed fish is now a bed and breakfast. We're following European Route E10, which runs the length of the Lofoten Archipelago and continues into Sweden. The afternoon light makes for moody black and whites. We try to channel Ansel Adams. As the sun gets low in the sky, it shines under the cloud cover. Finally, at sunset, the mainland of Norway lights up in a rosy afterglow. The next day, we follow the E10 to a great view of mountains and fjords that Lofoten is famous for. We stop at an abandoned house, always an interesting subject. The boat harbor at Sydpolen offered a variety of subjects, from mountains to boats to ice. This is why the late afternoon light is called the golden hour. Then finally, as the light dropped behind the mountains, the ice turned blue. Tonight, we're going to meet the Vikings for a Viking feast. Not today's Vikings. We're stepping back to the Viking Age, more than 1,000 years ago. The Lofoten Viking Museum displays artifacts from a chieftain's village excavated on this site starting in 1983. The museum includes a reconstruction of the 272-foot-long chieftain house. That's where we'll be eating dinner tonight, Viking style, with spoons and knives. Forks hadn't been invented yet. The menu includes bulgur, wild boar, lamb, and root vegetables, with sour cream and lingonberries. We wash it down with mead, honey wine. As we feast, the chieftain's slaves entertain us. We have one more adventure this morning. The MS Orca is here to take us to Troll Fjord to see white-tailed eagles. All traces of civilization seem to disappear quickly in our wake. There are a few other boats around. Then a navigation aid. And we pass a fish farm growing Atlantic salmon. But mostly it's craggy mountains rising up directly from the water. Then we spot our first eagle soaring high above the snowy mountains. A few gulls check us out to see if we have anything for them to eat. There are a few isolated houses along the way with fantastic mountains in their backyards. Then we turn into Troll Fjord. A sharp-eyed deckhand spots an eagle perched in a tree. He brings out some frozen fish, and the eagles arrive. White-tailed eagles are found across a wide range, from Greenland and Iceland to Hokkaido, Japan. They're a close cousin to the bald eagle of North America. The white-tailed eagle is one of the largest raptors with a wingspan of 6 to 8 feet. Like many raptors, the female is significantly larger than the male. Their claws are sharply curved for hanging on to slippery prey like fish. We feed the eagles more fish, and eventually we turn around and head back to Svalbard. Just a few more pictures of the majestic bird against the snowy slopes. The eagles must be getting full. They're letting some gulls have some fish. We enjoy the craggy peaks again. And we're back in Svalbard. In the morning, we pack up, say goodbye to the fish racks, and head for the next adventure.